Hi guys, so lots to get done today. Unfortunately not on the new purchase, but I am going to do a couple of quick little bits on that, so I just thought I'd share that with you. The non-starting issue has annoyed me a little bit, so I just want to I've already read the fault code to that, so I just want to go through that with you and just show you what we're working with there. I have to excuse the state of my unit at the minute. Lots to get done, no time. Yeah, excuse the mess. That's my fire bin for when it gets cold. No such thing as heating. We've got some goodies in here at the minute. Got lots of parts for the race project. The seats that came out of it, the seats that are going in it, the seats that I couldn't decide whether were going to go in it. Lots of rubbish everywhere. Some parts for customers. Front end, yeah, it's all just a right mess at the minute, but we are making progress on this. But more videos of this to come shortly. For now, we're going to concentrate on this one. So we're going to look at the fault codes. This is the issue that we've got, is that first attempt at starting. First attempt at starting. Nothing. Here, a slight little misfire then. Second time, it goes no problem. Now we've got a G40 error code, so I'm going to plug in and show you what we've got. Oh, hello. See if the laptop's going to play ball today. It's actually working for a change. This is a good start. Really boring background there, nothing exciting. So first thing we've got to do is we've got to have the ignition on. And then we can go into VAGCOM. So, good thing to do is just go into here and just test your connection before you try and do anything. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that I'm not using the latest release. There's a reason behind that. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. I'm going to select control module. Go to engine. There's lots of stuff we can do in here, but what we're looking at today is fault codes. Camshaft position sensor, signal too high. So we've either got, it's actually found a problem with the position of the cam with that sensor, or the sensor itself is faulty. So an easy way to sort of investigate this is we're going to get the car up in the air and we're going to just confirm the timing between the cam and the crank, make sure that that is correct. I've got spares on me. The joys of working on many TTs, I've got spare sensors, so we're going to try one of those. If the timing is correct, if the timing isn't correct, then I shall not turn the key again until I've done the cam belt. Let's have a look. Inside here, basically, we've got a sensor just under here that we need to get to. So we're going to take the cover off, we're going to take the charge pipe off. We're also then going to take the under tray off and come in through here, just to try and get to the crank to rotate the engine into top dead centre. Tools everywhere. Oh, engine mount for the track one. Tools everywhere. We're going to need these bits and bobs. We're also going to need trolley jack. And we're going to need an axle down. Everything one-handed is a lot more fun. I don't know why I don't do this more often. I don't drink Ribena, that's not mine. So with these low reach jacks, I happen to know with my trolley jack that I go in exactly this position here, all the way to where it says advanced, like that. I will be underneath the chassis rail. So that's where we're going to want to put the axle stand, under the chassis rail once it's a bit higher. Just there on the chassis rail, nice and safe. So then underneath, I'm going to have to remove this under tray. So we've got the Torx fittings that go around it. This is missing quite a few of the fittings. We've just got to remove the Torx fittings, remove the side cover, and then we can get to the crank. Now, if you get lazy like me, this is a very useful tool to have. Not the quickest, it saves your hands from doing a lot of extra work. Now, eagle-eyed viewers will also notice we seem to have a bit of an issue with the exhaust here. That doesn't look the best, so we're going to need to address that. But what we have noticed is we've got a complete decat section there. So this car's only running about 260 horsepower according to the previous owner. I think there's a lot more potential with the goodies that we found on there. But yeah, anyway, back to the under tray. You've also got fixings just here. Got these two here that just need to turn 90 degrees. Same on the other side, and we'll drop this whole thing off. And then we're going to need this one here. To get this cover off. We've got, so I've used different connectors, different clips. We've just got a push fit clip there, and we've got what we expected to see on the other one, 10mm clip just here. Get that one there. This one here, we're just going to have to give it a bit of persuasion. So here we've got the main crank bolt. Really hard to show you from this angle. Got the main crank bolt here. So this is what we're going to rotate to put the engine at top dead centre. So we're going to have this front cover off here. You'll notice from my previous videos I've upgraded from the black gloves and the blue gloves that I used to have up to orange gloves. That's sort of secret ninja language. You can only have orange gloves when you're at ninja level orange, basically. So we can take this cover off here. So we're going to need to take this clip off here. We can leave these two in place because the whole thing will move out the way. We're going to take this big clamp off here and take these couple of clamps off here. Awesome. And we'll have to find that later. Or I'll just get another one out of my pot of bits. That's what I get for looking at the phone to check that it's rather than looking at what I'm doing. I'm not personally a fan of these big Michelor clamps on systems like this. This one going onto a stainless pipe isn't as bad, but when they're going onto aluminium pipes, they're easy to just crush the aluminium, causing problems with sealing. Get those out of the way. Now they're all undone. Pull this forged one off. We can pull this one just over and out of the way like that. So what that now gives us is access. So we can just move this cover and we can see the top of the cam belt. Okay. So really hard to tell. I mean, looking at this cam belt, you can't really make it out in the video very well. But if you look carefully, you can see, and it doesn't really look that good in the video, but you can see there's loads of tiny little marks where the rubber's deteriorating. So for my money, that cam belt needs changing. I can't find it in history when it was done last anyway, so I'm going to do that as a matter of precaution. But so this is the sensor in question, and to check that this is in time, we're going to need a 19mm And we're going to be reaching in here. Now, let's see if we can show you this. So if you look just there, excuse me, if you look just there, there's a little notch on the wheel there that we've got to get to line up with that notch on the cover there. At the minute we can see we're like 2 teeth out or whatever. So I'm just going to give that a fine tweak and get that to position and then see where the rest sits in relation to that. Sorry. So you can see at this point we've got the markers in line. Now it's within a fraction of a tooth. That's not an issue, that's neither here nor there. But we can see in here on the flywheel we've got the notches in the inspection window. Struggling to focus. There we go. So that line there that you can just see there, that is in the window. That'll only be in the window when the top is in line as well. If it's more than a tooth out, that would move massively because the flywheel is a lot bigger than that crank in relation. So the window that we get to sit on there, the smallest movement up top makes a massive movement down the bottom. But those two are in line with each other. So the issue is now either with the timing of the two cams inside here, but I'd more expect an incorrect correlation code, or the fault was with this sensor. Now we'd have had to take all this apart to get to this sensor anyway, but so I'm going to change this sensor now and see if our code goes. We're just going to have to take this plug off, and it's just two 10mm bolts, which once we've cracked them off, usually you can just do them with your fingers for the rest of the way, and I would advise doing it with your fingers for the rest of the way, because if you drop this other one here down into here, unless it falls straight out the bottom, you're in trouble, because then it can get caught up in the cam belt and cause it to jump off. So I'm just going to do this one first by hand, and the reason I do this one first, now that they're both cracked off, is so that it's not got the weight of the sensor causing me issues trying to undo it. I can just undo this one nice and easy. I can feel for when it's free and I can pull it out like that. Job done. And then I can do this one, but you notice as I do this one, the sensor starts to move about, which would cause you issues if it was the other way around. So that's that one out. There we've got the sensor. So let's just have a look at the part number there. So we'll grab one of my spares. Oh, that's me map sensor for the other project. Got a nice new sensor, so we're just going to carefully put that into position there. So get this one nearly all the way on, just to hold the sensor in place. We can get the other bolt in easily without causing issues. You see how I do this is I'm supporting it with one finger just to push it into place, wiggling the whole thing till I find where it's got to sit, and it's causing me no resistance to do that with my fingers. Nice and easy. Yeah, it's a little bit fiddly, but not too bad at all. So once they're both finger tight, we can just put the spanner on. And just give them a nice tweak. particularly tight, just nice and nipped up. Remember, they're going into aluminium and they're only a small bolt, so that'll do. Put this cover back on. So when you're lining this cover up, there's a couple of grooves in the part below it has to sit into. Which is really hard to make out. No, it's not going to do it, not with the flash on. So there you go, there's those grooves that it's got to sit into there. Same with the front edge of it there. It's got to sit into those properly. And then it'll clip shut. There's one around the back as well. Job done. I don't know whether that was filming then. Obviously I've put the plug back on, put the pipes back in, put the cover back in place. Find the key, give her a start and see what she does. Woo! That was a good one. Alright, let's have a plug van come in and see what she's saying. Alright, so let's have a look. The code will still probably be there because it'll be stored. So we want to clear codes. It's running and no fault codes are found, so switch her off and she starts. So there we have it. Before, no matter what I did, no matter how long she'd been running for, if I turned her off she wouldn't start first time. But now starts first time every time. So that was a nice easy one. That was just down to a sensor that was old. It was, you know, past its best. It wasn't giving the right readings. The signal was too high, so the ECU wasn't confident in where the cam was in relation to the crank, which is why it was struggling to start. So it was holding back on ignition and fueling until it was happy with the position of the cam and the crank. So now that we've put a proper sensor on, it knows where that is and it can just fire first time every time. So I've just got to obviously finish full assembly inside here now, but one thing I have noticed is that idle is a lot better now that I've changed that sensor. So I don't know whether I'm imagining things or what, whether I've disturbed something, whether I've inadvertently cured a leak. I doubt that, but it is idling a lot better now, which kind of doesn't surprise me because the ECU has got readers that it's happy with now. So yeah, I can put all this back together. And then I can start tackling the other issues that we found. So to give you a teaser on those, something I spotted while I was under here. Just be careful of all this spinning. While I was under here, I've noticed that in the CV boot there, that's dead. Now that boot is so far gone and there's no grease in there. That joint is not going to be fit for much good. So I'm probably going to change definitely the joint. I might even have a whole shaft that I can just put in there. I'm having a look around here. I can see that it's obviously had either parts of another engine or another engine fit at some point. They've had the sump off because Audi don't use red RTV to seal it. So it's had the sump off at some point, probably just as a precautionary measure hopefully, or it's had a smashed sump and they've had to change it because it was running too low potentially. You know, you never know with the history of these cars. So that's one thing I've noticed. Like I said, there's a split on the exhaust that needs looking at, and then we've got the knock-in that needs addressing, which I think, now that I can get under here and show you, I think that this rear wishbone bush here is kind of past its best, so I'm going to have a look at that as well. We've got an oil leak back here, which I'm going to have a look at. Yeah, and then I'm having a look here. My power steering lines are in good condition. Yes, there's a little bit of rust around that bracket, but in the grand scheme of things, that's hardly anything compared to some that I have seen. There's hardly any rust along the lines themselves, so I'm happy that they're going to survive. They're not a problem. What else can we look at? Oh, okay. We can have a look at the intercooler hosing. We've got some Samco piping on there. Doesn't look too bad. That's for the front mounted intercooler. So I want to have a look at what that is. Now, obviously here as well, we've got HJA written there, which we had on the sump. So it's hard to say whether it has had a whole engine. You know, there's signs that the gear linkages have been off for some reason. Again, hard to say why. So it'd be interesting to have a proper look. Now I've got a little bit of there's a bit of wet here. This is power steering line, so I'm going to clean that off because I want to keep an eye on that to see if that gets any worse, or whether that's just picked up from another area, or whether that is that pipe weeping. I do doubt that it's that pipe weeping, to be honest with you, but we'll have a look. And then you've got your telltale, right? Then you've got your usual oil around here. See if we can zoom in, see what's focused. Now this sun's causing me all sorts of issues today, it's too bright. But we've got your oil residue around here, and that continues around the back. Yeah, there we go. Continues down there, so you can see all that wet oil down there. That's coming from the rocker cover gasket itself, so that is going to need addressing. But yeah, she actually sounds a lot better in general now. So hope you enjoy me on this little journey through buying a used TT. There's lots more problems that we've got to address and fix, and I'll do some more videos of those as and when I can. But like I say, I'm going to do a bit more work on this beast today. Any questions that I can help with, please let me know, and in the meantime I will bid you farewell.